Things Gary does.
So there's some weird thing going around Facebook of people telling a certain number of random facts about themselves, and I don't know where it's coming from, and I don't know how people are doing it or how they're coming up with these numbers. So I'm just gonna pick a number and tell you some random things. Should be fun. First thing, when I was little, I played a lot of video games. Big surprise. But the thing about video games is that there's a lot of death, and particularly in the early games, there was a lot of exaggerated deaths. One in particular was Mission Impossible. And they would fly everywhere and they'd fall to the ground in these pre-animated deaths. And so me, being impressionable and having a trampoline, I'd spend hours on the trampoline just practicing these deaths, just reenacting these various crazy flailing falls of deaths. And so that's what I would do, just practice dying on my trampoline. In high school, I was very into the idea of chi and internal energy and that kind of thing. And so I spent a lot of time practicing, kind of meditating and sort of just making it up as I went along. Well, one day I was standing in my kitchen practicing, doing kind of like a hand motion like this. And I was trying to, push out energy and like trying to get something to happen with my hands. I'm not exactly sure what I was expecting. But as I was standing there and I was focusing, and then all of a sudden there was a shock. I got shocked. There was a shock that went between my two ring fingers, and it totally stunned me. And I sat there for about 5 minutes trying to figure out whether or not I had just done what I intended to do, or if I had just had some sort of static electricity built up. And I sat there and considered it for a while, and then I kind of got freaked out and I never did it again, because I didn't know what was happening, and I certainly didn't know how to control it. And it was probably just static electricity, but it was enough to scare me to not practice anymore. One of my favorite books growing up, and it was really like the first book, like real size novel that I remember reading cover to cover, was Predator: Concrete Jungle by Nathan Archer. It was my absolute favorite book because I love Predator, and I probably shouldn't have been reading it as early as I was. It's got a lot of spicy scenes and gore and violence and all kinds of things, but I read it anyway and I loved it. I loved it so much that I actually read it 13 times by my last count, and I ended up doing about 2 or 3 book reports on that book. So that was a good book, highly recommend it, but you probably don't like it. And lastly, one thing a lot of people don't know about me is that I took fencing classes. Not like putting up a gate in front of someone's house, but like actual with a sword in the white costume thing, fencing, And I took this when I was in early high school, which was great. I was stoked that I could find a fencing class someplace, but the thing was they only had a children's and an adult. And the adult cutoff age was 18, and I was not 18. And so I had to take the kids class. And as it turned out, I was about 4 to 5 years older than anybody else in the class. And so there's me, this big giant high school kid, stabbing these small little children, and I'm obviously a lot stronger than them, and I don't have the finesse to go softly, and so I'd be fencing this child, and I'd win, and the kid would go, ow, oh, and so that was what I went through with that class, was just stabbing little children for about an hour. And those are my 4 random things. So tell me which ones you liked, which ones you didn't like, and if you talk to me at all, just say hi. Okay, bye.
Things done.